Welcome, everyone, to Burge's Power Hour tonight, tomorrow, whatever day of time it is in your world. And we are going to have a jam-packed hour tonight for our power call. It is the Enlightenment. It's all about enlightenment and the lightness of being. So I liked that because it kind of goes along with the essence of being. However, it's going to be a very interesting call, a little different than what we normally do. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and mute everybody in the background. If you would like to say something or speak, all you have to do is hit *6, and that will unmute you, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and mute everybody, but if you would like to say something, as usual, you know me, I like to have as much interaction as possible. But like I said, tonight's call is going to be a little different in that normally we do a lot of experiential, getting down to what's going on for you and helping you through some things, and certainly that will hopefully happen this evening as well. But I wanted to give us a lift because we're about to go through this. We're going through this crazy time in our life. So let me go ahead and mute you guys. So hold on. So welcome again, and again, remember, *6, and you can unmute yourself. Tonight, this morning, this is going to be more of a tune-up, an upliftment to help lighten our load, to understand what enlightenment might be for you. And the reason I said the world is in this interesting place right now with the election and the U.S. and all kinds of things going on all around the world, and I just felt like we needed to stop for a minute, just stop and just take a breath and understand or feel into what the lightness of being is. So tonight's going to be a little different. You do not need paper and pencil like we normally do. You can take notes, of course, if you choose to. However, tonight is more about us just searching on an etheric level, a little more esoteric perhaps, and yet I'm going to get practical with tools on how the lightness of being and what that means and how you can feel that from the inside and the out, and how you can use that in attracting relationships that you want, your business relationships, your love relationships, your self relationships, your friend relationships, your family relationships, your relationship to the universe. And remember, on these calls, I keep it universe, it's God or Great Spirit or higher self or energy or whatever you want to call it. I refer to that energy as universe. So, again, please be open to feeling your way through this. And, again, you're not going to have to necessarily write down a lot of things. So I really want to just tap into what is enlightenment and what does that mean, and what does your lightness of being mean. So first of all, the definition that I'd like to share with you about enlightenment could be that it's a connection. It's a connection with all intelligence and love, and an awareness of being one with and part of the entire vastness of being. And that means universal being, that means your own being, that means you are alive and connected to all that is. However, you still retain your awareness of individuality. You're individual, but no separation. In other words, you are alone in your own uniqueness. So if you can think about that for a minute, just kind of let that simmer into your heart and into your brain and say, what does that mean? I'm alone, and yet I am unique in my aloneness, but I'm still connected. So how can I be alone and connected at the same time? I want to be aware of my individuality, and yet I am one with all that is. So it's this really interesting concept. And for me, enlightenment is just that, is being aware that I am connected to all that is, and I am part of and one with everything. And yet, I'm very aware that I have an individual signature. So basically it's a dichotomy. It's almost, how can you be both? So it can mean, enlightenment can mean there's a sense of freedom, lightness, openness, and sometimes euphoria and bliss. And there's definitely peace in there somewhere. And so I feel like we really need to get in touch with more peace in our lives, me included. So whatever troubled you in the past, what it means is that it could mean that it's really distant and unreal if you are in your lightness of being. You may think that you've transcended, the physical, and in some ways you have. Yet the need of this physical must be dealt with and cannot be ignored. So you feel like you will experience life in a whole new way, with new eyes, feelings, and awarenesses. So it's like starting life over. So I love that kind of a definition around there's an automatic awareness of being present in the moment and in the now. And you no longer have to work at being present. So in our workshops, of course, the people who have ever done Essence of Being or any of our other programs, we definitely get you into that place of oneness and really honing in on being present and allowing your present moment to make a change in whatever you want to do in your life. So it's not that you're automatically, basically you to be enlightened, to me, it means that you're fully blossoming. It's automatic. You're unfolding without effort. So your awareness is an outgrowth of the new being that you've become. And so that's what I mean by, it kind of means like a new birth. An enlightenment event is like a new birth, a new beginning from which far greater growth is possible than what was understood or imagined before. So I would like to take this opportunity to remind everybody that we are part of a bigger picture. A lot of us get really locked into what's going on in our own lives. We get really focused on all the problems and all the things that need to be solved and figured out. And I just want your mind just to let that beautiful part of your mind just wander for a minute, because we are part of a global awareness that human beings are evolving into another level of enlightenment. And that is my intention tonight, is to really share with you my feelings about our own global awareness, that we are, as human beings, we're evolving into another level. So let's talk about that, about how we are doing that and our lightness of being and what that looks like. So again, I told you this is going to be a little esoteric to start with, and then I'm going to put it into some practical steps for us to utilize what I'm talking about. So a lightness of being to me is there's a lightness of energy. The lightness of being is a lightness of energy that can be associated with being alive. And then there's also the feeling of pressure that people on the planet feel. We feel less light. We feel denser. We feel trapped sometimes. We feel more lower to the earth because we are physical here. And what we like, here's what I'd like to say about this, that the lightness of being is your energy. Your energy is light. Your light can be considered in two different ways. You have a lightness around you that is full of bounce, and there's a lightness within you, which is the light of your soul. So when we use the word light, when I use the word light, we're speaking of a twofold process of light. The lightness of being able to jump on the trampoline of life and feel the air as you jump, and you feel light as a feather, and to be uplifted in that light. And then the second part of the lightness of being is the glow within you. That is your soul. That is your light. That is your spark, your individual signature. That is your fire that burns bright in your belly. And that is the lightness of being. So when you think of yourself as low energy, or you feel dark, or you're feeling low to the ground and really dense and heavy, and feeling somewhat cut off to the light, sometimes it's just good to jump for joy, jump for the lightness of being. And just by that physical ability to jump or imagine jumping and to feel what it feels like to not have your feet on the ground as you jump, it's a reminder of your physicalness of feeling light, and also a reminder of your energy, a part of you, your spiritual part of you that is nothing but light. So here's the thing. As the lightness that you can infuse within and without your body is always there, because that light is there to burn bright. And the brighter it burns, the lighter you feel. And the lighter you feel, the more you can jump for joy. And the lighter you feel jumping for joy, you feel even more powerful and more enlightened. And the enlightened part of you takes over. And you perpetuate more and more and more. And it's an endless cycle that you may feel, this feeling of lightness and lightheadedness and almost euphoria. And it's a sense of the burning of your own source within your physical body. And it is the feeling you feel when you're skipping around, enjoying life. And it is the infusion of light that we suggest, even if it feels like you're in a dark place, turn on your light. In other words, if you have difficulty knowing or remembering how to turn your light on and see it, I suggest that you start from the outside in and turn your light on in your environment. Turn your lights on very bright to remind you that you are full of light and that this lightness is part of your beingness. And from that feeling of the light, jumping up and down on a trampoline is exquisite. Delicious memory of not having a body when you're in midair because you're flying. And that is the lightness of being. You could do the same thing when you're swimming, feeling that you're without a body, that you're light. And that's why when you're buoyant like that in the water, it's a really wonderful feeling that you can feel that you're flying and that you're a lighter being at that point. And then through that, jumping up and down and jumping for joy and jumping for your light and turning your light on, then through that, you remember the belly of the fire that you have, which is your passion, which burns bright, which is your soul, and your willingness to breathe life into it and understand it more and more on the physical plane. So again, I'm asking all of you just to allow this just to kind of flow in and see if this makes sense to you or resonate with you. So to understand the lightness of being is to flip on the light. Remind yourself that you are full of light within and without, and that all of the denseness and fear and falsehood and darkness and pressure is not really real. Feels real, I know. That oftentimes you're focusing more on coming down on the trampoline than going up. So if you have a trampoline, I suggest you use it and just practice this. Practice jumping for joy. And when your feet are perfectly on the ground, sometimes there's a necessity to remember that there's a ground here for you to feel safe. So it's okay to be on the ground because you want to feel safe. So to feel safe, you feel safe and you go ahead and jump up and then come back down again. This will make sense for you when you jump for joy. That's an expression I know that you've heard probably, but that's why jumping is indeed part of the joy process. It reminds you of your lightness of being in flight, of being lightness. It's flying when your feet are not on the earth. You are flying. So if you don't have a rebounder, that would be fun to do that and play like that. And if you're not able to jump on a rebounder or just jump at all, you imagine yourself jumping up and down, a way for you to remind yourself of how light you really are. And to enjoy the up part as opposed to the grounded down part. And you just tweak it just a little bit. It's a little bit of a reminder when you turn on all the lights to remind yourself that you are full of light. Just as you cannot see electricity, right? You cannot see your light in the purest form oftentimes. And this reminds you that it's there. So that's an anchor for you guys. So what I suggest you do, here's a tool. That whatever you're feeling low and dense and dark and not sure and heavy and confused and all those things that just feel really low to the ground, just seriously, since we live in a first world country for most of us, okay, we have lights that we can turn on. So every time you turn on a light, that is a reminder or an anchor to turn your light on, to remind yourself that you are full of light. So use turning on the light as an anchor. So let me give you a little more information about this, and then I'm going to go to how you can anchor this in for attracting the perfect kind of relationships. So sometimes people feel, in all the workshops that I've done over the last 36 years, I know that people oftentimes they feel somewhat directionless, or they feel sometimes hopeless, or feel maybe just somewhat not clear or not connected, feeling separate. And I have to remind them that there is hope here, and your inner being is not lost. Your inner light is never lost. What I'm trying to remind you is that you are still here, and that inner being is still here, and it's not lost, and you're not lost. The ability to connect with your source, with your, whatever you want to call your source, and oftentimes people feel lost when they're not able to connect with their source. And I'm here to remind you tonight, right this moment, that there is a source for you. It's your source to connection, that you're not lost. So I want to just uplift you with that and remind you of that, knowing that you're not lost. You're still there. And so again, remember, lightness of being is twofold: coming from the inside and using the outside environment to remind us, jumping for joy, turning on the light, knowing that we radiate the light from our light center. And as long as we are radiating the light from our light center, then that's what we're going to attract more to us. And what that means, in a nutshell, is just more positive stuff, more of what you want. So let me give you an example of how this works with relationships. So when you see, let's say when you see a man or see a woman, and when you're thinking that you're attracted to them, let's use it like a love relationship for a moment, but you can do this with any kind of relationship, that you're attracted to them for some reason. Look at them through your inner being's eyes. Look at them through the eyes of a pure soul, as opposed to anything having to do with physical. In other words, when you're attracted to someone, I understand there is a physical attraction, and there's an energy attraction. So if you focus more on the energy attraction and have nothing to do with the physical, that will ease your anxiety and your overwhelming feeling at times about either to approach someone, or is this going to work, or what are my expectations? Or oftentimes when people get into a relationship, they have these feelings come up, and they can get overwhelmed with all kinds of things, or get anxious about themselves. They start judging themselves. Am I good enough? Are they going to like me? Do I like them? So when you're speaking of looking at or thinking of or talking about anybody, a woman or a man, that you picture them, not necessarily from the physical package, but picture them from the energy standpoint of highly evolved, connected to source, feeling one with you. See them from that standpoint. See them unclothed, and I don't mean, hey, I'm looking at you and you look naked. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about unbodied and from that soul level. And even if you're not sure what that feels like, or even if you don't agree that that's there, try it. It's like a moth to a flame. To focus on their light not their shell, that'll ease a lot of your own feelings around your own shell, because that is not what they're attracted to anyway. So we think it's that. We think it's how we look, how we think, how we talk, how we smell. Olfactory works really well. It's not about that, really. When you boil it all down and you take our bodies away, it's that attraction to that energy, to our light. So that's what they're attracted to, and that's what we're attracted to. So if you can focus more on the light as opposed to the shell that we call the body or that physical package, then it will ease your mind about your own physical package that is more the lightness of being that you are attracted to, and they are as well. So let me be clear about this. Is that when you're attracted to someone, your mind will tell you at first you're attracted to their physicalness or something about them that you might feel. And then perhaps if you get to be with them in any way, you move through that physical into the emotional. So then all of a sudden your heart is like, oh, this is emotional. I'm really connected to this person. And then you move to the emotional into the spiritual. Whether you understand that or know that or believe that or not, there's that piece of that connection. So what I'm suggesting you do is to first tune into that spiritual part of that lightness of that person. So you first come out from that place. In other words, reverse your attraction module. If you're attracted to the spirit first, you might say, well, how do I do that? If I've never met them or I don't know them, how do I do that? How do I do that when I'm just talking with them or just see them? Or if you're talking about a family member or you're talking about your boss or your friends or your employees or whomever, how do you do that when you know them to be a certain way? How do you tune into their energy and their spiritual attraction? So what you do is this. You fine-tune in above their physical body and tune into plucking their heartstrings and plucking their soul strings, if you will. And when you do that, that plucks your own soul string. Remember what I talked about at the very beginning. We're all connected, even though it doesn't look like it. Even though we feel sometimes separate. So we're all connected. And those of you who have done Essence of Being and all my other courses, you know how we can connect and we feel connected and one. And we feel it. And it plucks our heartstrings. So you may see you're in a vibration of plucking somebody's heartstring and it plucks your own. So we're kind of playing harmony with each other. We're playing our own musical light instruments, if you will. So when you do that and you start plucking it, you can actually imagine looking past their physical and even if you want, just imagine plucking their soul, plucking their little heartstrings, and see how it plucks in yours. And ask yourself, am I in harmony with that soul, or is it not very harmonious? Even though you may want to look at them physically, that's not the real connection. That's not the real attraction. And of course, on an emotional level, all of you who have taken the class, some of the classes, understand about bubble talk. So that is also what's happening. That's the emotional part, the subconscious part. The bubble talk is again, those of you who haven't heard me before, that is the unconscious thoughts that keep you from getting what you want in your life. It's like a little cartoon character with a bubble above his head, and that's what he's thinking. So those are subconscious thoughts or unconscious thoughts about who you are and what you're attracting and who this person is, and you don't even know. It's not even playing out in your conscious level. You don't even know that part, but there's an attraction there. So it's the same kind of thing, only this is on a spiritual energy attraction.
First, I have a question.
Sure.
Now, you're saying, for example, like I understand what you're saying with people that I know as far as, plugging out the heartstrings and the soul strings and stuff like that. But what about when it comes to people that you've never even met? This is just someone that you just kind of see and you just...
You can do the same thing. You can do the same thing. Let me give you an example. So close your eyes and think of somebody you met at the store today, or somebody that you drove by, or somebody that stands out in your mind that you don't really know that well, or that you met, or you've ran into.
Okay.
Got somebody?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. So close your eyes. Now, what I want you to do is I want you to take your little tuning fork in your mind. So I want you to just tune in to their face, and then tune into what's behind the face. Tune into the energy. Just kind of imagine, even if you don't understand it or know it, just kind of imagine.
Mm-hmm.
Tune into maybe what their energy is, what it might look like, feel like. Tune into that light behind the eyes.
Okay.
So you can gauge by just looking at a picture even, or seeing a name even, or tuning into that in a way that's closing your eyes and not using any physical sense. Does this person feel harmonious or not to you?
I definitely feel harmonious when I cross paths with this person, so yes.
Perfect. So this does not, if it doesn't feel harmonious, then ask yourself the question with your eyes closed. You ask, is this person harmonious to me or not? And the more you do this, it'll become easier and easier and easier. And you'll see what will happen with that connection. So have fun with it. Have fun with this process and do this with a playful heart. So do so from that playfulness. Does that help?
Yes, it definitely does help. Now, Virg, another question. Now, obviously, if you can do that as well, but also the feeling of the energy being around that person is another indication of the answer to, are they harmonious? Right?
So you're trying to find out what?
Well, I'm just trying to find out if this is someone that I can actually approach again if I see them and talk to.
Yeah.
Which I do get that. I definitely get that harmonious. I definitely got that harmonious vibe when I crossed paths with this person. And now that I did this exercise with you over the phone, that's just another thumbs up. So I just kind of have to look at the overall picture of the feeling I get, and also with doing the exercise that you just did.
Exactly, because that's really the only question you need to ask yourself. Does this feel harmonious?
Okay.
Does this feel harmonious? And ask yourself that question and trust your answer. Whatever your intuition says, whatever it says when you're doing that process, the first thing that comes into your thought, trust it. That's your intuition talking.
Okay.
And it gets easier and easier and easier to do this. Perfect question. Thank you.
Virg, thank you.
You're welcome, honey. So your light is constant, okay? And your intuition is constant. Your light is all-knowing. Your light is forever. Your light can never be put out. Whether you're aware of it or not, it doesn't matter. Your light can never be put out. And it's my belief, and it doesn't have to be yours, but it's my belief that even when we leave our bodies, our light is still there. It is forever. And it joins into other lightness, other lightness of being. It joins into the universal connection of all that is. So that's my belief, but it doesn't have to be yours. But so my point is, the light is forever. So like energy is forever. Thoughts are forever until they're rethought. So that's the kind of work that we do, of course, is going into your thoughts and your belief systems, because they will keep producing the same things in your life until you rethink them or re-believe them or tap into that emotional part that keeps driving you to create things over and over and over again. So that is one of the biggest things that we do with people. So here's the thing. Remember, any time that there is an attraction, it's an attraction to light. So it is your attraction and their attraction connecting to light. And you may think that's something to do with your physical, and there may be a physical part of it. However, the real attraction is the light. And it's interesting when you talk about a family member or someone that you know really well, it's like you get into this rut of expectations, and you get into this knowing about, yeah, this is how they feel, this is how I feel, this is how it's going to turn out, here we go again. So next time you think about, look at a picture of, or be with maybe your family member or somebody that, you'd like to have a little more harmony with, certainly just look past that, basically look past on your past. Look past your past. So look past what's happened before, and this also helps you get more grounded in that present moment of trying that, closing your eyes and looking in their eyes from your mind's eye and going past their eyes and connecting with their light and seeing them for who they really are. And by doing so, it elevates you to a place of connection without expectation, without judgment. So think of them. And to discern if this light that you're connecting with, let's say you don't know them that well, just think of them and discern if this light I'm connecting with now is in harmony with my light. And just ask yourself, is this person or is this light in harmony? Is it harmonious? Is it a harmonious feeling? And release the topic of the shell or the body or the stuff on the outside and the profile that you're looking at and all of those things. Those are billboards. Look at those as a billboard for you. But the real connection and the real attraction is the light. Is that light in alignment with me? So in order for you to feel this even more, my suggestion would be is to connect with your own light. And in order to do that, remember the tool is jump for joy, is to turn on the light. And every time you turn on a light, that reminds you, it anchors in, oh, that's right, I'm light. I'm a light being. I radiate the light from my light center. I'm a light being. So every time you turn on the light, remind yourself, oh, that's right, I don't have to be so dense and dark and heavy. So you turn on your light inside. Let your belly, that burning passion in your belly. And then you think of that person or a name or a picture and imagine them on the other side of the street. And just look and see, is there a bridge from your light to theirs? Is there a bridge from their light to yours? And just imagine it and say, do we have a bridge of light here? If your first answer is no, then don't go any further. If your answer is yes, then continue. And it can be that easy, and it can be that fun. So it's sort of like a bridge of light. Your lightness of being is connecting with another lightness of being. Like I said, this is kind of esoteric, perhaps. Any questions so far, or comments, or thoughts about this?
Hey, Burge, it's Angie.
Hi, Angie.
I've been feeling that very, for lack of a better word, really grounded, low feeling for the last couple of days. And yesterday I was at the park, and I just had this urge to do a cartwheel. And so I put the dogs in the car, and I thought, can I even get my feet over my head? And usually, I mean, I'll do a cartwheel at the drop of a hat, but I haven't done one in a long time. And I put the dogs in the car and set my purse down and went in front of the car, and I just did a cartwheel right there.
And
well, I got back in the car with a smile on my face, obviously, and I thought this would have been a perfect photo for my scavenger hunt thing, but there were no strangers around to witness it.
Well, so, I guess you'll have to recreate it.
I will. I definitely will. But it did lighten me up for the rest of the day, and I think my circadian rhythm feels off because my lightness happens later in the day now because of the nature of my business, and I'm doing more things that require me to be light in the evening.
Uh-huh.
And that that sleep pattern is off, and I don't know what I'm trying to say, but my darkness is lasting longer into my days.
And the darkness feels like it's just grounding, or it feels like something else?
It feels like a total lack of energy, and the start to my day is later on in the hours where usually
So you're not jumping out of bed ready to just run a marathon every morning?
No.
Gotcha. So it takes you a little while to prime the pump to get started?
Yes.
Okay. And you call that being heavy?
It feels
Dark?
heavy.
Uh-huh.
It feels heavy to me because it doesn't feel light, but I'm going to get my trampoline out and go jump on it first thing in the morning.
Yeah. My suggestion would be, first of all, there's other things going on, I think, in your sleep, that you're definitely doing a lot of things in your sleep, and that I can get into a little bit more esoteric about that as well, about what happens in your sleep. But for this call, so when I see you at Mastery, definitely remind me of that so I can give you a little more information about that. Okay?
Okay. I feel totally different after our last appointment. Just to let you know, I wanted to get that out there.
Okay. Awesome. In a good way, I hope.
Actually, no. This all started after that.
Oh, good. Okay. Well, that's good. That means that you're ready. You're ready for what's about to come. So those of you on the call, we have our advanced level coming up that I do every 2 years called Mastery, and it's a 5-day retreat. And so oftentimes what happens right before these types of retreats and these type of programs is a lot of things come up for people to really look at, and oftentimes, you know, it can be interesting to have it come up and just know that it's coming up for a reason for you to shift through that and break free. So definitely tomorrow morning, get on that trampoline and start jumping first thing.
Thank you.
And when you do so, and this goes for everybody, you're welcome, hon. This goes for everybody. When you jump up, focus more on the jumping up and how it feels, or get in the water and float, and notice how it feels to be light. And when you jump, when you're coming back down, it's the safety of the ground. So you're safe in jumping up, and the up is the lightness, and the safety is the grounding on coming back down. But focus more on the up part. And jump for joy. And jump into your lightness of being. And that will definitely help you feel lighter and get you more, I guess, more ready for the day, you know, lighter, as you put it, to get going.
Got it.
Okay. And report to me.
I will. Thank you.
Welcome. Yes.
Hi, it's Joanne.
Hi, Joanne.
Hi. So there is a lot of stuff coming up, and I'm observing it's got to be because of WPN, the unconference, and then yours the next week. So I'm rolling up my sleeves, but I wanted to ask a question, kind of dovetailing to what you said about the sleeping. Because I basically don't want to go to sleep. I don't have dreams per se, but I'm usually up 3 or 4 times during the night. And it isn't that there's a heaviness, it's just kind of like being woken up. I'm not feeling a specific presence or anything that did that.
So do you do a lot of, do you remember your dreams or no?
There haven't been any lately. I mean, every once in a while there will be dreams, but I find when I wake up at 3 in the morning is when my creative downloads come about logos and things.
Okay,
so I actually I'll write that down at that hour, even though my eyes are half asleep.
Right. Well, and that is what happens for a lot of people, that if you can think about when you're sleeping, that is also where your light shines, because you are allowing yourself, your body is at rest, okay, or your body is basically not, it's on its own, and you're able, in my opinion, definitely in an easier way, to take a trip. And so a lot of people, for lack of a better word, take trips, okay, they go out into different places. And now this is just my belief, and those of you who don't know this, it's okay, or don't believe it or whatever. But what happens is, in my opinion, we take these journeys when we're sleeping. And so a lot of us are doing, maybe we're doing battle, maybe we're wrestling with ourselves about things, maybe we're out into different time periods or dimensions or all kinds of things that can be happening, because we are light at that point. We have left our physicalness behind. It allows us to integrate what has happened to us during the day and what's going to happen to us the next day. And it's a way of connecting sometimes where we're not able to connect oftentimes when we're awake. And so there can be a lot of different things that are going on about that. So I definitely, especially if you're the kind of person that gets downloads, or you get information, or you get awakened by, wow, this is something I got to write this down, or you know that you're having a lot of answers to your questions are coming in through your sleep, or you're having people that have passed the veil, and they're coming to talk with you. So there's all kinds of things that can happen in your sleep, or your subconscious can just be playing a lot of fun with you.
Well, they feel very different, and I'm very clear that it's a totally different thing when there's a download, or when I'm simply kind of dragging myself to the bathroom simply because it was just, to get a sip of water or something.
Right.
What's happening though is I'm going to bed later and later and later. It's maybe there's something going on that I just don't want to.
Well, let me just tell you this: there is something going on, and again, I didn't want to go into it too much. And again, those of you who are coming to our Mastery Advanced class, you are. This is normal. This is normal for people to go through this right beforehand, because there is quite a shift that's happening, and we are all connecting. Remember, we're all connected? So the same thing's happening to me. So it's definitely when we're connected on a level of alignment that we know we are intending to do something together, then it becomes a collective feeling and a collective connection. And so I am doing the same thing. So I'm just kind of rolling with it and allowing it, and knowing that this is a process that I trust, and just trust the process on what's about to happen. Okay?
I mean, I figured it was connected, but this has been going on for a fairly long time in terms of the no sleep. It isn't just right before the workshop or this place of my evolving.
Yeah.
Well, so I'm looking for a magic bullet to fix it, please.
Well, there's all kinds of magic bullets for that, my friend, but, well, depending on what your preference is, we can certainly play with that for sure. And the land that we'll be on is a sacred land, so it'll be very interesting to play on that land. So,
yes, it feels almost Indian to me.
It is.
I'm looking
it's Native
forward
American.
to it.
Mm-hmm. We're around the Trail of Tears and that kind of thing.
Oh, wow. Cool.
Yeah. Okay. So
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Well,
one more. I have time for one more, and then I've got a couple more things I want to share with everybody. So, how can I help you?
I just want to. You mentioned that bridge of light, right?
Yes.
Doing it with a member of the family. You said you just ask yourself if you are in harmony. I wasn't sure.
Yes, what you do is you imagine them across the street from you.
Mm-hmm.
You get in touch with your own light, okay, meaning that you feel that kind of burning passion within your light, within your body. You imagine yourself looking across the street at that person, and you look through them, you look into their eyes, and you look through them, and you see their light coming in from behind their eyes.
So if you see that and you ask yourself, are you in harmony, and you are not, then what?
Then there's two things. You say, am I in harmony? Is this a harmonious connection? Are we in harmony? And you get an answer, yes or no. And then you look and say, is there a bridge of light? So if you see a bridge from your light to theirs across the street, you see a bridge, okay, and it's just a connection piece, if you will. Mm-hmm. That if you see that or if you feel that, then that is a harmonious connection.
But if not,
then you ask yourself again, is this a harmonious connection? And trust your yes or no. So there's two different ways you can do it. You can do it through the bridge of light and just looking across the street and seeing if there's a bridge, or you can just imagine them there, looking through their look through their eyes. Imagine a light coming from behind and ask yourself that question. And just trust. And the question is this in harmony with me? Am I harmonious with this connection?
No, I understand that. My question is, if you get an answer that is negative, then what are you supposed to do?
Then you do not seek out that person to connect with.
But if that person lives with you, what do you do?
That's a whole nother I'll tell you what you do. And it's a good segue, Mahila. This is a really good segue. I'll tell you exactly what you do. Remember we talking about the law of appreciation? Do you remember that?
Yes.
Okay. So when you're with someone, you're living with someone, or you're with someone that you get a no on any of those questions, are you? And again, you want to make sure that you are not thinking about or imagining anything from the past, because that can get in your way, meaning that if you look at the person and all you can think of is everything that's wrong, or your judgments, or your expectations, or your feelings of whatever those are that don't feel good, that's not getting in touch with your own light first. Okay? So it's like you have to get in touch with your own light first with no judgments, no expectations, no past. That's the enlightenment part I'm talking about. And then you look through, that's when you start looking through. You just don't look at them and see if you can see their light or not. You have to get in touch with yours first. Okay? But the law of appreciation, so if it's still a no, the law of appreciation works like this. You appreciate something about that person. If it's the kind of thing where you cannot get away, or you choose not to, if it's just not possible for you now to not be with them or whatever, you can focus. When you focus on them, you focus on appreciating them. So that when you think of them, when you turn on that light, another great anchor would be when you turn on the light, you turn on the appreciation for that person. So when you walk into a room, you turn the light on and you say, I'm a light being. I radiate the light from my light center. And I appreciate, and you just name whatever it is in your mind. You don't have to say it out loud. Just think about that person and really appreciate something that they have, or that they do, or that they are, or that you can feel grateful for. Even if it's simple as they get me coffee, or even if it's they gave me birth, or even if it's, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Even if it's just that, which is a pretty big thing. Because without them, you wouldn't be here, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
So that is definitely something that you want to focus on. And what'll happen is the law of appreciation will bring more and more and more of that to you. It's an attraction. So the more you appreciate about that person, the more that appreciation will come back to you. It may come from that person and it may not, and that's okay. Either way, you want to be able to have more appreciation for who you are. And it won't they won't be able to be in that space with you for very long. Meaning that if you're really appreciating somebody and you're grateful for somebody, it's very difficult to hold that thought and hold that shape for that person to just be around you. They won't be able to be in the same energy with you, or they will rise up to that level of appreciation that you're giving them.
Okay. Yeah.
Either way, you get what you want, right?
Right, yeah.
Perfect.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome, honey. That's a perfect segue, because that is another tool that I was going to give you, which was the law of appreciation, to remind those of you who have worked with me before and those who haven't to understand how that works. That, again, if you've got somebody in your life that's just, that you can't see the light for, or you're not sure how to shift out of whatever you're feeling for them, send them appreciation. Think of one thing that you appreciate. Use the light switch. Like I said, turn on the light. I'm a light being, and I appreciate whatever it is. They bring me coffee. They do my clothes, whatever it is. Something that you can appreciate, and that will shift your vibration immediately. And they will either match that vibration, or something will happen so that they cannot exist in the same energy as you for very long. So either they kind of move away and something else comes to you that is appreciating you like you appreciate. So it's appreciation without attachment. Let me just say that. It's appreciating another person without attachment to whether they appreciate you back or not. So you're not doing it to say, I'm going to appreciate this person so they'll appreciate me. That's not necessarily the intention behind that. What the intention behind this is just to vibrate appreciation. And because you are doing that, more appreciation comes to you. And it may or may not be from that person. In all of this, just give yourself credit. The thing I want to just share with all of you as we close up here, it's just give yourself credit for following your own guidance. Give yourself credit for knowing what feels good. Give yourself credit for all that you have accomplished and all that you are going to accomplish. Give yourself credit for allowing yourself to be the light. Give yourself credit for allowing yourself to feel joy. Give yourself credit for reaching out and acting even through your fear. You really have, and we all have, much, much to be appreciative of. If we just look for it and focus on it, we will find it. We will find more and more light. And cut yourself a break. Don't be so hard on yourself. You chose, in my belief only, you don't have to believe me, but in my belief, You chose to come here. You chose to be here at this time and place. You chose to be here. And there's a reason. And many people try to find that reason all their lives. And here is what I'm going to propose, is that the reason all of us are here is to shine our light and be here. That's it. You don't have to look outside yourself. That's it. That's why we came, is to shine that light from within our bodies and without our bodies. And it's just really exciting to do it in a body. Because when we're not in a body, that's all there is light. So when you're in a body, now you get to see light and dark. You get to see off and on. You get to see right and wrong. You get to see left and right, good and bad. So now you get to see all that and experience all of that. But if you keep pushing away all the things you don't want and push it away, it keeps coming back, right? It keeps coming back at you. Again, what you resist persists. So my suggestion is to understand why you came here in the first place. You are a light being, and you came here to experience what it feels like on this planet right now, in this physical moment, for a reason. And the reason is to experience your light, to understand and feel the difference between light and dark. So embrace it. Embrace it all. That's why you came. And the tools I want to leave you with is, remember, jump for joy. Just jump every day, or if you can't jump, imagine jumping and really focus on the up part. Turn on the lights. Every time you turn on the light, use that anchor. I am a light being. I radiate the light from my light center. Ding! Light bulb. And use that technique that I just shared with you about find your own light, and then look at that other person, whether you know them or not, and ask yourself the question, look through their eyes, look through their energy, and feel the connection or not. And if it feels harmonious, if you feel their light, then that's a good thing. If you don't, then not so much. And if you see the bridge, if you see them across the street, that's another technique, and do it that way and see if there's a light bridge. And if there's not, then you send them lots of appreciation and move on. However, because we are all connected anyway, just know that they are really connected to you, even if you don't want to be, in the vast uniqueness of the world and the universe, okay? But you don't have to play with them, and you don't have to, hang out with them, okay? So I hope that I didn't blow you out too much with this esoteric kind of higher vibes message about enlightenment tonight, but I felt like we just have to take a breath and stop, because my next power hour for everybody is going to be November 16th, which is the third. Remember, it's always the third Wednesday of every month. And guess what it's going to be on? The election. How to create harmony. No matter what happens, this is going to be how to create harmony. And those of you who are not in this country, you can probably feel the angst that's going on. And it's going on all around the world, but how to create harmony. And we'll specifically talk about the election. So I invite you to come join me there. Also, I will be at the Unconference, the Women's Prosperity Network. I'll be speaking there in Orlando this weekend. So if you're coming to that, yay. If you're not, get your tickets. It's at womensprosperityNetwork.com. And I will be in Utah speaking in November to the World Parliament Spirituality. It's a Spirituality World Parliament. It'll have 196 nations there, and it'll be 2,000 people in attendance, and it's going to be live streamed all around the world. So stay tuned for that. If you haven't signed up for our newsletter on essenceofbeing.com, just go there and sign up for the newsletter. Get on our membership site. It's free. You can always upgrade for more goodies. But these power calls are all on that membership site. So if you go to essenceofbeing.com and just join the membership site, you will be able to have access to all of these downloads. And you'll also see them, of course, on our Facebook if you join our Facebook groups, Essence of Being. And then, of course, our next Essence of Being we're doing is next year in January in Fort Lauderdale, January 13th through the 15th. And February, it'll be in Atlanta, the next Essence of Being, which is our flagship seminar program, workshop that we do. And that is February 17th through the 19th. And we have more coming out. I'll be going to India in March. We invite you to come play with us in India, come play with us wherever we are. And I'm going to go ahead and take this off of mute so everybody can say lightness of being or something, just so everybody can say hi and bye until next time. There we go. Night, everybody.
Thank you.
Good night. Love you, birds. Love you all.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you. Love you.
See you tomorrow.
Okay.
See everybody in Orlando.
Okay.
It's Sherry.
All right. See you there.
Okay, see you there.
Okay, we'll see everybody somewhere. So be safe, be light, and shine your light, everybody.
And
Go
be
shine
loved.
your light somewhere.
And love.
All right. Take care, everyone.
Love you.
Love you. Bye-bye.